Hello, I'm Kim Sauer at the EIPC Winter Conference in Munich. I'm joined today by the chairman of the EIPC, Alun Morgan. Thank you very much for joining us. The conference has just finished, but what I'd like to talk to you about is the EIPC in general and what you do for Europe and the sort of platforms you're providing for your members, for the PCB industry as such. So what's your strategy and going forward there?
We're primarily here to represent and to promote the interests of the European printed circuit board industry. But when I say that, I mean the extended industry. So this doesn't mean purely the board producers. We, of course, have OEMs on our board as well and our members. We have suppliers to the PCB industry. We have designers, and we try to integrate the whole supply chain. We think it's important to take an entire view of the supply chain in Europe and actually try to provide value for our members so they can grow their businesses and actually find niches that they can play into and use their services for the best of their industry.
Mm-hmm. Now, there were a lot of challenges that were addressed today at the conference. What, in your view, are the key challenges, the key trends that we're facing today?
You know, we've seen a lot of migration of business around the world. You know, operations are mobile these days, so there's been a lot of change in the industry in the last probably 15 years or so, a massive change, and products have moved around. Industry sectors have grown. Some that exist today weren't at all in existence 10 or 15 years ago. So I think the key thing and the most important thing is people need to know which markets they work in and which markets they can find value from. So especially I would say in Europe we have a very strong automotive sector. So in Europe we still have the OEMs very active here, designers very active here in automotive electronics, and that of course has grown and grown and grown. So a vehicle now, in the past it would have been a mechanical piece of equipment. Now it's an electronic piece of equipment, and it's more and more connected to the outside world, and will be more so. We just had a session on the Industry 4.0. You know, we're talking about the Internet of Things, we're talking about how these things do get connected. So definitely automotive has a very, very strong place in Europe, and development is done here. I may also mention medical devices. We have a very, very strong industry here in that area as well, and we also have a very strong space and defence business. So Europe launches more satellites than anywhere else on any other region on Earth. So you know, this is a very strong sector for us too. These sectors we have to understand where the value is and actually help to improve those. And I think things like, for example, mobile communication devices, you know, again, there was a massive production of mobile phones in Europe if we go back 10 or 15 years. Now the production levels are virtually zero. So we have to accept that, and we have to understand that business model has changed the entire dynamic of that industry. And we have to actually understand where our strength is and where we can work together and improve the position for the industry in Europe and make sure it stays here and make sure it grows and plays into its strengths.
That obviously also means some very unique challenges like reliability, the complexity of the boards, you know, that's increasing. Miniaturization is a buzzword that's coming around. If you lose or break your mobile phone, yes, it's annoying, but it's not going to ruin your life. Whereas if electronics within a car breaks, that's a big deal. So those are things that I got from the conference as well. So that particularly for Europe, possibly also for the Americas, but here particularly because of those industries that we're working within, it's a key issue.
Reliability is a massive issue, and of course you rightly say if a vehicle electronics fails, if your ABS fails in the middle of an emergency stop, for example, you know, you may crash the vehicle. If your automatic cruise control fails, if your distance control fails, you know, this can be a real big issue. So it has to be built into those kind of applications. But thinking about space, for example, you know, many satellite systems only have one system. There's no redundancy built in because they can't afford this for weight reasons. So if a satellite is put into orbit, you expect 15 years life. If the thing fails after a year, you can't go there with a soldering iron and repair it. And this is a massive cost. So in the end, these are the really important challenges for us. And reliability, of course, is there in medical devices as well. You know, you don't want to have a pacemaker fitted that stops working after a few months. So reliability, and I'm not saying reliability doesn't exist in other markets in the world. For sure it does. But actually, it's something that we've always focused on very strongly in Europe, and we continue to do. We develop test methodologies, and we've had some interesting discussions the last 2 days about how we design in reliability. So which elements of design affect reliability? And we will actually run a seminar on that fairly soon. We've had some discussions with some of the partners here today, with Bill Birch from PWB International, for example, and we will run a seminar on that, because I think if we can learn some of the design-related failure mechanisms, and that will help us to move forward. So absolutely reliability is going to be continue to be a key watchword for our industry in Europe.
And you just addressed it. These sort of conferences provide a platform for the attendees as well as the sponsors to network, but it's also an opportunity for you to talk to the people within the industry and sort of find out what the trends are, what the key issues are. So you said that from this one alone there are some interesting workshops you'll be providing. So what's the plan, what's the roadmap for the EIPC and your seminar and workshop program going forward?
Well, here we are on the 6th of February. We've already run 1 conference this year and 4 workshops, so that's 5 events already this year. We plan around 20 events this year. Workshops we develop either alone or in conjunction with other partners, depending on what the topics that are of interest. This conference itself will generate a workshop on reliability and one on signal integrity. These are 2 topics we've heard a lot about in the last 2 days, and there's been a huge amount of interest, so we will certainly run workshops on those. We tend to roadshow these, so we'll actually do the same workshop perhaps in 2 or 3 locations around Europe. We're very grateful to our members for hosting these, so actually we have a lot of members who allow us to use their premises for these workshops. So we'll certainly do a couple of workshops on those themes. We'll have another conference probably in June, or it could be in September. We have to see where the date fits best, and around that day we'll run a few more workshops as well. We'll certainly be at SMT in Nuremberg, again with workshop content. So we try to basically deliver what is of value to the members, and frankly these technical workshops really attract members, and they attract people who want to come and discuss these topics specifically. But you also get the chance to network as well, and you know, we shouldn't forget the value of that. We can read papers on the internet, we can send these around, we can certainly find the content. What you can't do is actually get the networking, and I would probably say an event like this, there's a technical content which has been very good. There's also the networking opportunity which we do every minute, every coffee break. You come in and have a look, you see people talking, you see contacts being made, and here we have people at this conference from assembly, from design, PCB manufacturer, PCB suppliers, and OEMs, and of course in the end consumers, which is what we are. So we've got the whole supply chain here. We've got 90 delegates from 11 different countries representing the whole value chain, and it's quite hard to find that group of people in one place, and we managed to achieve that, and you know, we're very proud of our organising of the events, and that people do come and get value from such events.
And you certainly give the technical side, the real content. You also provide a very relaxed environment through, you know, the program that you provide around it. A lovely meal that we had last night in the centre of Munich with very good food, bit of beer, bit of wine, but you know, it's another way of getting people connected. So great success. Thank you very much also for inviting us to have a peek into your conferences, and much success for the future.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much, Ken.
Thank you.